Hey there, Libra, and welcome to your week of December 6th, 2021 General Tarot Reading. We're going to be taking a look at your energy coming into this week, some possible challenges for you as well, some possible outcome cards for you too. We're going to clarify all those cards as well, and we're going to tie everything off with an oracle card too at the end of the video, so you're going to want to stick around for all that. These are general readings though, Libra, so some of this or all of it or maybe even none of it will resonate with you. If it does resonate, that's awesome. That's awesome too. We'll get into that in a bit, but if it does resonate with you, that's great. But if it doesn't resonate with you, it's just not part of your message or just isn't your message. So don't try to make something fit that doesn't, all right? But without further ado, let's get into your energy this week where you're coming in as the Knight of Cups, the Six of Cups, and the Hierophant. The Hierophant is Taurus's card, so you may have Taurus in your chart. Might be dealing with a Taurus this week too, but we'll see as the reading progresses. But we're coming in Knight of Cups, Six of Cups, Hierophant. I feel like you are committed to learning. You're committed to going onto a path of your dreams. Committed to following your dreams, whether or not you know other people may agree with you, or whether or not your past kind of indicates that you should be doing this. Sort of is kind of what's coming to my mind here. The Six of Cups is a card of nostalgia. It's a card of the past. So you might be kind of in the mindset of like maybe thinking that your past doesn't define you. I feel like that's kind of what I'm picking up here. It's like you're moving forward and looking at your past and realizing maybe not necessarily that you might have been on one path, one road you were going down before it. Now you've changed lanes and feeling like, well, that doesn't define me just because I made some mistakes or just because I started off going one way and now I'm going another way, because you know, that kind of stuff doesn't define us here. The Knight of Cups is crossing this river you can see here in the background to get to his dreams, because his dreams are on the other side of the river here, and no one's going to make him cross the river. He has to do it himself. You have to go after your dreams yourself. So I feel like you're really committing to this. Like, there's a really awesome song by a band called Judas Priest, and I'll try to remember to link it down below in the description. But it's a song called Heading Out to the Highway. It's one of my favorites by them, and it's about like a song. It's about like how everyone you're heading out to the highway, and how, you know, you may break down, but that just means you can put it back together. Like, you got miles and miles to put it back together and keep going, right? Like, you can do this. And that's what I feel. That's kind of like the message I'm getting here. It's like maybe in your past, something didn't necessarily work out and you had a breakdown, something like that, but you're moving towards the future because you're putting it back together, because you're back on track. So I'm loving that. With the Hierophant here as well, I feel like you're committed to learning. You're committed to increasing your knowledge, however that is, because you know that you're going to need it for the future. You're going to need it to know where you're going. As someone once said, if you don't know what your dream life, what your perfect person looks like, what your dream job or any of that looks like, how are you going to know when to stop when you get to them, right? Like, how are you going to know when it's like, oh no, here I am, I made it, right? So I feel like you're gaining this knowledge, you know, whether it's like academic knowledge or it's like just knowledge about yourself and learning about yourself and learning about what you want in your life. I feel like you're getting that so that you can go forward and achieve what you need to achieve in order to find your dream life. So I'm loving that. In your challenges though, we've got the Tower, the Page of Swords, and the Two of Pentacles. I feel like there's a bit of a holding pattern here. There's a bit of a lack of clarity. Oh, excuse me, a lack of clarity, and a bit of a change, like a lack of wanting to change here too. It's almost as if you kind of feel not necessarily, but some of you may feel as though you know what you're doing. And you know what the path is, and you know where you're going. Maybe the how to get there is a little cloudy here, like the Page of Swords, but I feel like you think you know what you need to do. You maybe don't need to improve at all. Like, you feel like you've learned enough. But with the Two of Pentacles here, it's kind of like we're stuck. We're just juggling. We're making sure everything's not falling apart here. So it's not moving forward. We're not falling backwards, but we're not moving forward either, right? So I feel like you need to kind of embrace the change here. There's a bit of immaturity here in that kind of mindset with the Page of Swords. Any of the pages do represent immaturity, someone kind of young at heart, or someone acting a little immature, especially where they're in your challenge position here. But as we're going to get going on here, we got the Queen of Wands and the Justice card, and that's very much a mature energy. So I feel like there's going to be improvements for that. So again, we just need to make some sort of change, some sort of adjustment here in order for us to move on and find clarity and get to where we're going here. We got the Queen of Wands. We got the Justice card. I remember I said that's awesome that that came out. That's your card, Libra. So that means you're coming into your strength in a big time way. Awesome whenever you pop up in your own reading like that. And we also got the Ten of Swords here. I feel like very quickly you're going to realize what you need to do and how to step into your power and come in a strong way. I feel like that kind of sense of maturity, that sense of justice, that sense of fairness, that sense of what you need to do, what needs to be done, is going to come to you very quickly once you realize that you can't maintain, like you can't move forward if you're just stuck here maintaining what's going on now, right? You need to make some sort of an adjustment to move forward. You can't be stuck in the same old cycle, right? We got this infinity sign wrapped around these two pentacles here, and that represents like this never-ending cycle of like, we're not moving forward, we're just juggling, we're just doing what we can here versus moving on and moving forward. The Ten of Swords is an abrupt ending. I feel like that's you realizing you need to cut things out. You need to just get this over with here. With the Queen of Wands as well here, she's all about not giving power to things that otherwise would be powerless, right? If you give power to the idea of like, I know everything and I know everything, I don't need to learn, I don't need to make any adjustments. If you give power to that, then it becomes stronger, and it's just like you feeding into that cycle we're talking about. But if you don't give it power, then you don't feed into it, and then you can put power where it needs to go into like yourself, right? Into making yourself stronger here. You see this black cat here. Superstitions are something the Queen of Wands doesn't worry about, right? Black cats walk in front of your path. It's bad luck, right? That's an old superstition. But the Queen of Wands doesn't mind that, right? So stop giving power to something that is not helping you and it's not giving you any strength. Give it to something that is giving you strength. This different idea, this more balanced approach here with the Justice card, because that is what the Justice card is about. It's about being fair. It's about being balanced. It's about, knowing that there's an ebb and flow to things. Things have to be evenly distributed. You can't just be like, I'm right all the time and you're wrong all the time. Sometimes you're wrong and the other person's right. Or sometimes your ideology gets challenged and you need to change it in order to find the right path here. So I'm liking that, Libra. Let's take a look at some clarifiers for you here. But before we do, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it so much. If you want to stick around, we're going to be tying everything off with an oracle card after your clarifiers. So you want to stick around for that. You don't have to though, of course, but I'd love it if you did. So let's take a look at your clarifiers here, Libra. See what we got. So let's clarify your energy first. We got the Moon. We got the Ace of Wands. I love it. And we got the High Priestess as well. Very intuitive. Very, very intuitive. The Moon and the High Priestess are both cards of having a strong intuition. The High Priestess more so than the Moon, but again, I feel like that's very strong intuition here for you this week and in the future. I feel like you're going to have a very strong intuition because of that. I feel like definitely the path you want to go down to. I feel like you can feel it in your guts, like in your heart. You can feel it in your soul almost. Like it's like, this is what I feel like I was meant to do, or this is the path I need to be on, or this is the way I need to go. So I'm loving that. Ace of Wands as well here, starting up something new, starting up something, having a lot of success with it. And commitment to growth as well, which makes sense too with the Hierophant, a commitment to learning and growing from someone. The Moon here as well is Pisces card, so again, you might have Pisces in your chart, might be dealing with a Pisces this week as well. But yeah, I'm liking that. I'm really liking that. Your intuition, I feel, is like on point. It's just a matter, like, I feel like here it's kind of more your mind is like, no, this is how I should do things. Like, this is the path that's right. This is the one that makes sense to me. And you're not trusting your gut. Maybe your gut's telling you, like, no, we can't be doing that. Like, we should probably go with the people who, know more, have been around more than we have here. So let's take a look and clarify your challenges as well. See what's happening with them. All right. Got the Nine of Cups, the Page of Swords again, and the Three of Swords. Yeah, there's this You're feeling very dissatisfied, very much. We got that haze going on, right? The Page of Swords repeating here again, just like that lack of clarity, that lack of like, like I don't necessarily know how I'm going to get there, but I know I'm doing it the right way, where you feel like you've got to be doing it the right way. And so, that's swords. You got to remember, swords are double-edged, right? Like it can bite you back, right? That's the thing about swords. They cut both ways. So you got to be just careful for that. Like sometimes you're cutting and you're like, this is the truth and this is what it is. But sometimes that sword can hurt you too. So sometimes you being like, no, this is how it is and this is what I think is right, it can backfire on you. So just be wary of that. The Three of Swords, I feel like you don't want to cut out things that I feel like you're really attached to something you refuse to cut out, something that's not helping you either. And with that Nine of Cups as well, that feeling of dissatisfaction, again, you just feel like, hey, I'm doing this my way. Why isn't it working? Why aren't these people listening to me? I know what to do, right? So again, just feeling some dissatisfaction from that. So let's take a look and see what we got here for some clarifiers for your outcome cards as well, Libra. See what's going on. We got the Eight of Swords, the Lovers, and the Two of Wands. Yeah, I feel like you need to put some restrictions on yourself here with that Eight of Swords coming up. It's saying like, hey, restrictions aren't necessarily a bad thing. So sometimes restrictions are good, right? There's law, like Justice is a card about like law and order, right? The Eight of Swords can represent that too, where it's like you put restrictions on the world, like laws and rules are in place because we don't want people doing bad things, right? It's like murder, for instance. Murder is illegal. It's discouraged. Don't do it. Like it's bad. There's restrictions. That's put in place for a reason, right? Sometimes we put restrictions on ourselves for a reason because it does good in the end, right? You put a restriction on yourself saying, okay, I'm not going to be so maybe so immature, maybe so reckless, and let's kind of go and be more mature. Let's kind of bring in a more sensible approach to things, and that's how we're going to achieve what we want here. We got the Two of Wands, card of stability as well. So I feel like, again, we get that maturity going, we get that new approach, we get that balance. The Two of Wands is saying we're going to have stability too. We're going to see that like this is going to put us into a good place here, which I love. And speaking of love, we got the Lovers here. So again, we're talking about learning here and with the Hierophant. And sometimes learning is like learning about yourself, not just like learning necessarily for a job or learning for like, a business or something like that. It could be just learning about yourself. So it might be a case where you're learning about yourself so that you can grow, so that you can draw in a soulmate, like the Lovers card says. The Lovers card is also Gemini's card, so you might be dealing with a Gemini. You may have Gemini in your chart too. But again, I just feel like there's kind of that pull of a divine connection. If you can just kind of realize you need to kind of maybe grow up a little bit, maybe stop acting so immature and kind of rein it in a bit. So that way you can see like, okay, no, this is a better path. This is a better way instead of the way I was doing before, which wasn't really getting me anywhere. It was kind of just had me in this holding pattern while I refused to change. So let's take a look at your Oracle card here, Libra, the tie everything off. Hopefully this has been resonating with you. Hopefully this has been helping you out. But let's get in and see what we got to tie everything off. We got the Chameleon Spirit, act as if, yeah, you gotta act, like maybe you not necessarily have that growth, that maturity yet, like we're talking about here, but just acting as if you're mature and putting up that front and then seeing how people react to it and seeing that, oh, this is actually a positive way to be, might encourage you to actually change, might encourage you to actually grow and move into that energy and like be like, okay, well, I've been acting as if I'm like this and now I'm actually going to be this way in order to achieve my goals because this is what people are responding to in a positive way. And speaking of positivity, the Queen of Wands, she has a sunflower on her card. And sunflowers, what I love about sunflowers is that sunflowers face the sun, right? They're trying to absorb as much sunlight as possible. And the sun is the happiest card of the deck, the most positive card in tarot. However, sunflowers, when they can't find the sun, they face each other. Like sunflowers will face each other. And they say they will find positivity in others, if that's the case. So I feel like that's kind of the thing. It's like, maybe you can't find your happiness, can't find that positivity, but maybe you can find someone else who is, and they can kind of inspire you to find that, to dig it out of yourself, to find your positivity for you so that you can move into a good direction and into potentially a love or soulmate connection for you. So I'm loving that. Hopefully that's helped you out here, Libra. If you want to help out the channel, though, you can hit that thumbs up button down below, or it's a like button. Helps out the channel a ton. Lets YouTube know you like what I do here. You can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That way these videos are easier to find for you, and you can see what I'm uploading every week. You can also check out your Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus sign videos too after this one, Libra. See what all's coming for you in the week ahead, what all might be resonating with you. Hopefully that's all going good too. Thank you again for being here, Libra, and I hope to see you in the next video.